temporarily. We're going to walk out to a trailer and we're going to talk about probably the RV industry's best news that they've had. And I'm talking about on the dealership and manufacturing side, which will actually benefit consumers in the long run. Selling your used, trading it in, doesn't matter. This is good news all the way around, and I'm a little excited about it. So welcome to HB RV Lifestyle, the podcast. As always, I'm the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business as well as some other things. And two of those very positive things, let's lower this down. Two of those very positive things has to do with inventory. So it seems, as far as I can tell, the manufacturers have released 2026 inventory earlier than expected. We already knew that was going. Happy Father's Day to you too, Skylar. And releasing 2026 inventory at a slow pace. They're not buying the materials at a massive quantity. They're not building on a mass scale right now. Happy Father's Day, Greg. They're building more moderately, and they're not shoving it out the door and shoving it up dealers' butts. At the same time, it's helping dealerships move 2025 inventory, and for some bigger corporations, it's helping them move their 2023 and 2024 inventory. Now, the only downside to all this is motorhomes, which I'll get into a little bit later on in this episode, but motorhomes are going to be the exception instead of the rule because there's just too much going on in the motorhome segment, both used and new, to be able to make this work. But this is like tent trailers, A-frames, fifth wheels, toy haulers, travel trailers, etc. So one of the bigger things that I want to make sure is talked about is a lot of the smaller dealers have moved most of their aged inventory. Not everybody, because I get it. People are like, well, I still see 2024 news out there. Nobody's discounting them. Well, I understand that. There's a lot of dealerships out there that would rather go out of business than sell inventory at a loss. I can't blame them. Okay? It's like you telling me that you're going to buy your house for $300,000 and you're willing to sell it for $260,000 and lose $40,000 just because. Most people would rather go bankrupt and lose everything than to take a $40,000 or $50,000 loss on an investment of theirs. It's a plain and simple thing. But for the most part, a lot of the small dealerships across the United States and even up into Canada are doing a really good job of moving all the inventory. That is what we call aged. Now, aged to me is 365 days in stock or longer. For some dealers, it's 200 days. It depends on what they call or pay on, which is called curtailments. So curtailments is basically paying down the principal of an inventory loan. So let's say the trailer I'm sitting in, let's say we paid $30,000 for it, okay, from the factory. Well, when it reaches a certain maturity, the bank wants you to pay down that $30,000 loan. Initially, for the first, 6 months or a year, you pay interest-only payments. But eventually, you got to pay down the loan. You got to pay down the principal. Those are called curtailments. Hello, Barbie Vlog. Hello from the Philippines. So when you pay down the inventory loan, you pay down these curtailments, it's not a loss of funds, but it's a loss of cash flow. Some dealerships have so much money and so much capital, doesn't matter to them. Some dealerships are smaller and don't like it. They're more the ones taking the loss to move the piece of inventory because, watch this, because they don't want to write the check to the bank. So I'll give you an example. There's a dealership in the United States right now that on 2024 inventory is only willing to sell that 2024 at invoice. I've talked to the owner of that place. He's got 32 2024 travel trailers, motorhomes, truck campers. And he says, if it puts me out of business, it puts me out of business, but I'm not going to take a loss. I will plain and simply sell it for invoice. And if nobody wants to sell it for invoice, or nobody wants to buy it at invoice, they want to buy it at loss, they're not going to buy it at loss from me. Okay? So that's where we're kind of at when it comes to 2024s versus 2025s. Thank you, Barbie. Appreciate it. Hi, Ronald. So the reality is we got to look at the two sides of the story. The factory is going to start catching a break because the factories are going to be more modest and moderate about how many 2026s they release. And that's smart. Okay? At the same time, dealerships are moving 2025 inventory at a good pace. They're also moving used inventory at a good pace. But that brings me to some other good news. The other good news is some of the lenders, not all of them, but some of the lenders are really being flexible about trades. For a while, lenders in the RV industry on the retail side of things wanted you to cover your negative equity, plus they wanted you to cover 10 to 15% down on the new one. And a lot of that had to do with all the 2022 like nastiness. Okay, there was just so much chaos from August 2022 to May of 2023. The inventory was getting aged, used inventory was getting smashed by book values. People had bought 2020s, 2021s, and 2022s at extremely high prices. The values on the lending side crashed. And we're starting to finally see people loosen up and understand they're going to take just a nasty hit. They're either turning them back into the bank or, how do I put it? Or they're trading out of it or consigning out of it and writing down the loan. There are still people out there that are stubborn. More stubborn than you could possibly imagine. I talked to a gentleman that owns a truck camper. The truck camper, the retail book is $13,000 and he refuses to sell it for anything less than 25 grand. I'll just sit on it. You know, somebody eventually is going to come around and give me exactly what I'm asking. It's pristine. It's only been used 6 times. I know it's almost 10 years old, but it's only been used 6 times. I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts how that works out. But again, another one of those situations where we're going to have that kind of thing still happen. The problem with that is it'll confuse the market. Somebody will look at that and go, oh my God, my truck camper, it's 10 years old, is going for 25 grand. Oh my God. That's the only downside. See, there's a difference between what things are listed for and what things really sell for. Had a wonderful conversation with someone today over the phone about their Pleasureway motorhome. Fabulous conversation. Well, a new one's going for $180,000. Okay, that has nothing to do with what your value of your 3 or 4 year old motorhome is. Now, I said earlier that I was going to talk about motorhomes. So motorhomes are the exception. Motorhome sales suck, both new and used. And that's because that has not come to a head yet. Man, anytime I'm trying to get a motorhome on consignment, people want insane money for them. insane money. It is ridiculous because all they see is what the price of a new one is. So it's got to increase the value of what theirs is worth. That's not how a value system is established. The RV, boat, car, housing market, all the markets are controlled by the lenders, banks, credit unions, financial institutions. It's all controlled by them. So once they've established a value and how much they're going to pay for a unit, that's it. Hold on. I need to find out what a guy's doing here. Hold on. This is actually the service lot, guys. Okay. They know you're going to drop it off here? Okay, no problem. So, yeah, that's fine. I'll move with the forklift a little later. All right. Anyway. So motorhome, both new and used, the market sucks. I mean, it's horrible. It's one of those situations that just doesn't make sense. See, new is so screwed up, not because of the manufacturers. The manufacturers actually have nothing to do with it. It actually has to do with the chassis companies, Mercedes, Ford, Chevy, GM, or GMC, Dodge, Ram. It has to do with those guys. Those guys are insane. They want so much money. So the real value of a 2017 Reflection, Barbara, this is the easiest way to do it. Go to J.D. Power's website. Don't add any options. Don't add any options and hit the button. If you want to know what a wholesale value is, take the low retail and times it by 80%. And that's what you're getting. That's your wholesale value. In perfect condition. Yeah.
Here they are.
Yeah, they can hop right in there.
Okay.
Yeah, Facebook, right? Yeah. How you guys doing? Not too bad, not too bad. The weather's okay in the shade.
Yeah.
Yeah, way worse. That's not too bad. No, just turn on the... Okay. I just turn on the lights. Okay. There's nothing we can do about the AC unless I move it across the street.
Okay.
And even the 50 amp over there is not pushing enough power out.
No worries.
I'll come back on later, guys. I'm busy. I'll see you a little bit.